Good morning, South Central Montana. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It is Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 43 degrees outside. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing, in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, enjoying the fine rainy weather they have up there, just like we have here. Oh, man.
Hey, it was fine, baby. Yesterday, the sun, it's the sky is blue, the sun's coming up, and it's 5 in the morning, and it was 87 degrees and clear skies here yesterday.
Really? Wow. Holy smokes. We haven't seen 80 degrees since last August, I don't think. Nor will we probably till this August.
Well, wait till January comes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I know.
Well, speaking of that, we do have Memorial Day coming up. Shane and I will not be here on Memorial Day morning. We're going to be observing Memorial Day. Can't celebrate Memorial Day. You have to observe it, I think. We celebrate the memory of, our fallen loved ones, but, you observe it rather than celebrate it, I guess. We celebrate their lives, but we observe the day.
That's right.
So there we are. So just to be politically correct, which we never are, or at least try not to be. We try not to be. Well, our weather isn't cooperating at all. We're looking for a high of 54 today, 39 the overnight low. It's going to be mostly cloudy. There's going to be scattered rain around, about a 25% chance of rain around the area. And then Friday, 59 will be the high, 38 the low. AM clouds and PM sun, but there will be morning rain on your commute probably on Friday morning. Saturday, high of 61 and 42 the overnight low. Thunderstorms in the forecast midday, about an 80% chance of thunderstorms. And the same on Sunday, 61 degrees, 41 the overnight low. Thunderstorms. Accumulation, about a half inch of rain, about almost 100% chance of rain midday and early evening. And then on Monday, 52 degrees, 39 the overnight low. Showers again in the forecast, at least at 50% throughout the day. And then Tuesday, the rain tapers off. Very little chance of precip on Tuesday. 61 will be the high, 41 the overnight low. And then Wednesday, 66 and 43 respectively, and the rain kind of tapers down some, but about a 25% chance in the mid to early evening on that day.
Yes.
So there we are. And Livingston right now is at 40 degrees and cloudy. Manhattan is 37. Three Forks is 36. Let's see, Gallatin Gateway is 40, Ennis is 46, Gardiner is 40 degrees right now, Big Sky's 35, at the airport in Belgrade it's 38 degrees and mostly cloudy, and currently we're at 42 degrees at our downtown studios at 9 minutes after the hour. And from our text line, 43 degrees. Remember when we jumped for joy in January when the day peaked at 43? Yeah, we did. Yes, we did. Thanks from our text line at 478-8298.
Hold it.
Yes.
Joy. I'm jumping for joy. There, that's good.
You are? Okay, why?
Well, I don't know, because it's a joyous day.
Okay, well, we have a phone call already, so
okay.
Let's see what's going on.
Hey, boys, you're back in town.
Hey, we're back in town.
I have a question specific to Shane.
Oh, boy.
I'm in trouble already.
Shane, I know this is a few weeks old, but the conservative conversion in Alberta, does that pose a threat to Trudeau? And can the trade relationships improve with Canada, between Montana and Canada, via the conservative movement in Alberta?
Great question, and the answer to your questions, yes, and yes. Trudeau will probably go down and in defeat. He has to call an election by the 19th of October this year, and right now the polls show a majority of conservatives. They're not united. The party in the province of Alberta is separate from the party in Ontario, Quebec, and then in the east. But they will join together under a majority conservative government. Number two, yes, it'll help the South, particularly with the oil industry, because you're rapidly reaching that sustained number of 18 million barrels a day of production. And with the help of Canada, you'll be there. And now that changed. Nobody talks about this. I'm glad you brought it up, because that will change the world. But, before they settle this trade deal with China, Iran, and all of this, the minute the U.S. it pulls the plug on importing any oil from anybody, changes the world.
Yeah, correct. I want to move on because 24 hours ago, almost exactly, you came forth, Shane, and Tom, you can chime in on this, regarding Nancy Pelosi, and you believe that she was consolidating. She was consolidating her power to preserve her legacy. Don't you think she could have been consolidating her power within her constituency within the House, telling them, don't talk about impeachment until all the facts are found?
I think it's greater than that, because of the left in her caucus is so extreme. I think she went in that meeting and said, hey, we're not doing the I thing, because if we are, I'm out of here. Yeah. Plus, we went over the history somewhat of what she's really not accomplished as Speaker of the House, even though they give her, credit for stuff that she, her legacy she will be the demise of the Democratic Party. Because with what she did yesterday, she basically called Trump a lame duck.
Yeah. Well, for my point of view, I think she's being backed into a corner with all these investigations and everything. I don't see how they're going to pull these investigations off when the entire House is up for election. They're going to be out campaigning. I don't know what they're, they can campaign on the impeachment of Trump if they want to, but there is a process they have to go through to get that done, and I think they're all more concerned about keeping their power than they are in impeaching Trump. And I've said all along, I think the Democrats, if you want to beat Trump, beat him at the ballot box in November, bring your best case, and, get the best candidate of the 22 you have, and, run him or her against Trump and, do it that way. Because you're turning Trump into a victim, and more people are going to gravitate to him the more that they, the Mueller report was supposed to be the gold star of investigations, and it turned up that it wasn't what the Democrats wanted, and they're bound and determined they're going to find something somewhere, either in his tax returns or his financial statements or something. I mean, they are desperate to find something to discredit him for 2020. And I think it's a futile exercise, because the American people are tired of it. We got tired of Benghazi. Nothing was brought up there. And this is another example of that very same thing, where Congress they will not accept that Trump is president of the United States. I can barely accept it. How can this guy? How this guy get elected? I still can't believe it.
And on top of that, yesterday they did this new left thing called projecting, where she comes out and before a meeting says he's involved in a cover-up. Well, the Democrats have been doing this for 20 years. Accuse your opponent of what you're doing. And her and Nadler and Waters, they all know what's coming with this report from the IG on the FISA warrants. It's all coming back that the cover-up was them with the Steele dossier and being paid by not only Hillary Clinton's campaign but the DNC. I mean, they know what's coming. They're trying to get ahead of this, and because it's not going to be good. And the debates are only 4 weeks away. Oh, and on top of that, the guy that's clearly leading, your ex-vice president, who's now a billionaire because he came out of China in 2014 with his son and $1.5 billion U.S. Now, not 1.5 billion won,
yeah,
1.5 billion U.S.
Well, I'll forgo the Trump comments in the Rose Garden yesterday, but I have one final question specifically for you, Shane. Are you disappointed that there's not a Canadian team, and who do you think will win the Stanley Cup, Blues or Bruins?
Well, I got to go with the St. Louis Blues. I just have too much of a yank from a kid when there was originally 16 for the Bruins.
Yeah.
Because I started out a Maple Leaf fan, and then Montreal. So it's got to be the Blues. I'd like to see the Blues.
I'm the Blues too. Growing up 60 miles from St. Louis, went to a lot of Blues games when I was a kid. So yeah, I will. I'll go with the Blues as well.
Well, just a point of fact. It didn't happen this day because I know you're going to do that soon, Tom. But in 1947, the flying goal from Bobby Orr was the last time the St. Louis Blues were in were in the Stanley Cup Finals, and Bobby Orr. I mean, just Google Bobby Orr flying goal. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I have to pull for the Blues.
There you go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thanks for the call.
Unanimous.
All right, gentlemen, I like it. Yeah, we're on the beam. All right, well, we're getting a little behind here. We got to take care of our farmers, ranchers, truck drivers, cab drivers, all the people that bring you food, booze, and clothing. So here's Montana News and Ag. 22 minutes past the hour of 6 a.m. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 43 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house, and welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And, well, in our, on this day in history, Shane, Joan of Arc, once again.
Yeah.
We can't get rid of Joan of Arc, can we?
She was busy for a long time. She was in the news cycle, baby.
Joan of Arc was captured by the who? The Burgundians.
The Burgundians in France and sold to the British.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
boy,
the highest offer. Yeah,
you can't beat that. Hey,
yeah.
You think anybody buy us?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think so.
In this case, no, because I don't want to die at the stake.
Right. Yeah, there you are. Yeah. Well, in 1533, that was a good year. The marriage of England's King Henry VIII to Catherine of Aragon was declared null and void. So he got off the hook, I guess. So
I guess you'd say he was on his way to collecting married widows. They like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He got rid of several of them, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh my God, he was very good, very busy guy. We talked about it.
So I guess Catherine can't sing Henry VIII, can she?
No, I don't think so. Not loud enough for anyone to hear.
All right, 1701, Captain William Kidd was hanged in London after being convicted of piracy and murder.
My favorite guy today, of this day in history, born 1654, as you said, died in England 1701. He was Scottish and came to the United States, and it's a surprising story because he was accused of or hung as a pirate, but he was actually a privateer, and a privateer at this time was a private person that was given the right to basically go out and into the ocean under what was called a marquee, a letter of marquee. And this letter of marque gave him basically the right to go and pillage. Now, not pirate, but pillage.
Big difference.
That's right. So Governor Belmont of Massachusetts and New Hampshire in 1695 gave him such a letter and asked him to go after actual pirates, Thomas Tew, John Ireland, Thomas Wake, and William Mays. Now, the only reason I'm going on, because kids love pirates. Then they love the story of it. Well, this was a guy that went after them, and then he ended up getting hung and falsely accused of a pirate because he came home with all the stuff, all their loot. So there you go. It's like the Good Samaritan, right? You
right.
Get sued.
Yeah.
If he didn't get sued, he got hung.
Wow. Well, in 1788, South Carolina became the 8th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, and
that was important. However, they also, December 20th, 1860. Now, remember, folks, December 20th, 1860, Lincoln just won the presidency, okay? Mm-hmm. And he's dealing during his transition of states leaving the Union.
I know, yeah.
So here's this is South Carolina. They were readmitted into the United States June 25th, 1868. Great state, beautiful state. Oh, what a beautiful coast. It's a coast of golf courses.
Yeah.
It's, the population of the state's 5 million, and they have a great GDP for, one of the states in the United States. It's almost $300 billion. So, it's very productive, very mixed. They have 2 senators that are Republican and 6 members of the House, of which 2 are Democrats. So, it's a mixed bag, and I think you'll see that your president probably, I think, will take it again in 2020. Oh, and the household income, 43rd in your country, $50,000 a year.
All right. In 1873, Sergeant Preston and his dog King became Canada's Northwest Mounted Police Force was established. And I was a big fan of Sergeant Preston and his dog King.
Yeah, we got his band. Interestingly enough, it started out as the Northwest Mounted Police, the NYMP, in 1873 under Prime Minister Sir John Macdonald that helped form Canada. Mostly for rural usage because the country is so big and we couldn't afford a military to cover the country. So they sent out a few guys and said, "Here, now you're officially federal agents." Basically the Royal Canadian Mounted Police is the equivalent of your FBI. And anyway, the many things that happened in the case of this was that in 1904 they and the First World War, they started training police for more larger actions. So they were some of the volunteers for First World War from Canada. And then there was this big investigation about Bolsheviks from after World War I in infiltrating Winnipeg because it was becoming a socialist province.
Ooh, can't have that.
And there's a big strike there. So long story short, 1920, the federal government combined the Dominion Police with the Northwest Mounted Police, and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police were formed in 1920. Yahoo!
All right. I'm trying to picture Comey on a horse. I don't know. That's the FBI equivalent of.
Even to this day, there's the RCMP. There's provincial police, like in Ontario, the Ontario Provincial Police (OPP), and city and city police, and some sheriff's offices. But for the most part of Canada, it's the RCMP to hold up the law. There you go. And we got to go.
Yeah, we do. All right, we're at the bottom of the hour. We got, we had a new Montana State News yesterday, so let this play, see what we get. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we haven't repeated again. So we have Fox News, we got Britt Foster with the weather, and a bunch of other things. So the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane will be back right after this. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 43 degrees outside. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing, on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Gallop, your morning mayor in the house, and welcome you to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. We're here every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9. So, hey, hope you'll join us, and thanks for starting your day with us. In local news, the Custer National Forest finalized a deal last week to acquire the 583 acres near Yankee Jim Canyon and the Dome Mountain Wildlife Management Area. In exchange, the agency gave up a tough-to-access parcel deep in the mountains to the west on the other side of the Yellowstone River. Known as the Shooting Star Ranch Land Exchange, the deal includes 2 roadside corrals that once housed research bison and stretches into the mountains that rise to the east. The land is now open to public non-motorized use, and some of its other features, elk, mule deer, and 3 ponds, which have been stocked in the past, have already gotten locals excited about the possibilities. So sounds like they finally got that thing under control, and sounds like a good deal for hunters and anglers that want to get out there and do some stuff
and enjoy the outdoors. How wonderful.
Yeah. Well, the other great news is that Wade Palmer, 35, wounded in the neck, face, and head on March 15th while investigating a shooting in Missoula a few hours earlier that killed one person and wounded two others. Palmer was shot after locating a suspect's vehicle near a bar. Lindsay Palmer said she and her husband were excited to return home to their two children and expressed her appreciation for the compassionate care of the hospital staff at the University of Utah Health Center in Salt Lake City. And that is great news to have Wade Palmer back home and recuperating and what could have been a really tragic situation. While he still has a long road to recovery, but at least he's home with the kids and mom, and that's definitely a good deal. So we're very pleased to bring you that news.
And we're grateful for his service. He's
Amen
done an extraordinary
to that.
thing.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, MSU's at it again. The Regents ready to freeze tuition, Shane. They're going to freeze tuition. And finally, we got the money after 6 tries, I think, at the legislature to get Romney Hall is going to be renovated. The plan to use $25 million from the legislature and $7 million raised by MSU to create more classrooms for MSU's growing student population and new centers for math and writing, tutoring, and veterans. So good deal for that. Yeah, that's going to be a good deal. So they're wasting no time in freezing tuition and launching major building projects approved by the 2019 legislature. So we're happy to hear that. I guess that I'm surprised that the MSU only had to raise $7 million with the money they have. I mean, come on,
$300 million. Yeah,
I was going to say, yeah. Hey, you could have done Romney Hall all by yourself. What are you doing? What do you do with that money anyway?
Well, that's right, and that's what it's for, right?
Yeah. What is it? Quadrado's closet? What are you doing with it there?
They're cutting coupons.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah, they're clipping coupons in there. So that's probably what they're up to. So, but anyway, MSU is also seeking approval to spend $20 million in donations to build a long-sought American Indian Hall on the Bozeman campus. We reported that a couple of weeks ago. And $4.2 million for a new dental training clinic at MSU Great Falls, and $2 million for 4 greenhouse labs for the agricultural experiment stations. So they are on a roll. Spending money. They are
indeed.
Spending the big bucks.
Got to expand to draw the new students, right?
I suppose so. Freezing tuition may help. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. All right, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these important words. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 43 degrees outside. Caller left, so Shane had a nice conversation with the caller, I assume.
Yeah, it was Aaron. He just wanted to thank you and I for the great show we put on, which is really nice.
Well, that was good. Well, thanks to Aaron. He still has a call.
Yeah.
He can still get a call in today.
There you go.
Oh, gosh. I guess I should point out, we haven't had abuse of callers double dipping,
That's right.
Yeah, it's been very great. I appreciate you guys out there picking and choosing the hill you want to die on. And
it's the mayor's house, and your house, your rules.
Well,
so
that's right. Well, it's been a rule ever since George Carter was here. It's been a rule for 25 years, because one of the we can't have the same 5 people calling on every topic we talk about. That gets old for the listeners, and we encourage people to participate in the show, obviously, but
of course,
if you do try to double dip, you'll hear this. There you are. So if you
fair warning, Mayor.
That's right. We've got a fair warning out there. So don't be double dipping. You'll get in trouble. So we'll put you on double secret probation. Which Shane and I are already on with Town Square Media. So, Well, in other local news, HRDC, they're going to get $500,000 to build a tiny home village, Shane. Pretty good deal there, I guess. Trying to get some low-cost housing in the area. The association opened the competition in October of last year. Hundreds of programs around the nation applied, according to a Fannie Mae spokesperson. And the 4 other contract awardees include projects in Chicago, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Newark, New Jersey, and Charlotte, North Carolina. And, of course, we have one here. So pretty cool that we're included in that deal. And the other, they're not sure where they're going to put it as of yet. They've searched for where the village could go and how to make sure it's once it's standing that it lasts. Obviously,
yeah.
We don't want to go up and go down in a few years. So, but HRDC recently bought 3 acres of land off Griffin Drive, where it plans to build a resource center with health and job services, along with Bozeman's first year-round shelter. And the question is whether there's enough space for the tiny homes there. The Fannie Mae contract spells out the nonprofit pilot efforts have to include at least 12 homes. So I'm not sure how they're going to build 12 tiny homes with $500,000, but I don't know. That's
sounds like trailers to me, Tom.
I was going to say, yeah, those will be Winnebagos.
Exactly.
Whatever. So, but well, I think it's a good idea. I think it's about time that we've done something like that, and I'm hoping the city is okay with it. We'll have to ask Jeff Krause when we have him in here again what the city's thought on tiny houses are, and. I don't know. I'm not sure if the property off Griffin Drive, if that's, I think that's probably still in the city. I'm not sure where the city signs are out in that part of town, but I'm assuming this is in the city. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
put that on the Jeff's list.
Yeah, put that on the Jeff list. Yeah, get your Jeff list started and put tiny houses on there.
Yeah, exactly.
From our text line at 478-8298, I love the government. Tiny Homes Village, a.k.a. the trailer park. Hello, people.
Exactly.
There you are. I like that one. So, yeah, that's pretty much certainly could happen. Let's see. Also from our message line, with the labor shortage in Bozeman, out-of-work miners shouldn't have trouble finding a job. Builders would love more workers, as tax dollars going to build affordable housing actually subsidized. And morning, can the timing for commercials be lined up better online? They're starting while you're still talking. And we've had that problem with... We've had that problem with Radio Pup, because the reason that happens is that because we're on a delay, in case anyone accidentally says the 8 words we're not supposed to say. And in the heat of the moment, there's been a couple times that we've had that happen. But, people get excited and, words fly out. So we have that delay on there. But Radio Pup and some of the other streaming features don't understand that, but I will point it out to our IT guy when he comes in here at 8 o'clock, and I'll have him check into it and see if there's anything that can be done to help that out. So we got to take another quick break, and well, let me look here. Hang on, Shane, because it says break, but there's no commercial.
Uh-oh.
So screw it. No break. No break. We'll just punch it down to the next pause.
Well, this is time.
Salespeople really dropped the ball on that one.
This is time for you to introduce a new section in this block.
Yeah,
the Livingston Enterprise.
Yeah, we got to put some Livingston stories in here. Over in Livingston right now, Paradise Valley irrigators who rely on the Paradise and Park Branch canals will get their water this summer, despite setbacks in planning repairs at the source, at the supply source. Some irrigators questioned or have questioned whether delays would put their water in jeopardy this summer, but Paradise Valley rancher Jerry O'Hare doesn't anticipate any immediate interruptions in the canal system, at least for now. There's going to be water and lots of it, said O'Hare, president of the Park Branch Canal Users Association. I just don't know how long. So yeah, we don't know how long that's going to happen, but
I assume those canals come off the Yellowstone River. Right?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. Probably somewhere in there. So, also the residents over in Livingston, they'd like to have an indoor pool. The city survey, the people say have spoken. They want an indoor swimming pool. According to the preliminary results of a survey on indoor recreation, while the Livingston Recreation Department released a public meeting at Monday night, more than 870 people responded to the survey, which is part of a $57,000 study being conducted by Ballard and King and Associates, a recreation facility consulting firm based in Denver, and the vast majority of respondents live in or near Livingston. So,
and it only costed $57,000. You know, the survey.
a bargain by Bozeman standards, isn't it? We can't get a survey done for less than six figures. So I don't know what what our story is.
Yeah, send some money to Colorado. There you go. That's a good deal.
From our text line 478-8298. Me Too didn't work. Stormy didn't work. Trump taxes didn't work. And Mueller investigation was a dud for the Democrats. So now Pelosi wants to do a meeting on impeachment? The bar tab just might sober Pelosi up.
Bar tab.
The B-A-R-R. Yeah, the B-A-R-R tab. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's very good.
We'll have to take that one. Pretty good there. So. Some other things that are going on, Shane. Let's see. Sola Café is being sold. They're looking for a new owner. Tiffany Loch has been the owner there. Tiffany used to run the Borders Books. That's where I first met her when I was doing book signings and stuff there. And she was a very nice lady. She opened one on the campus. She opened another restaurant in Big Sky, and it was just too much. You know, wow. She claims she borrowed a little too much money when she should have got investors. And so
probably, yeah. Exactly.
Had you and I only known, Shane, we would have been there for her. But,
well, been there, done that.
So anyway, they're like, yeah, I know we both have. So she worked at Borders for the first 6 years. She lived in Bozeman, and she opened the Sola Café in 2009. And she is also co-owner of Red Tractor Pizza and the Treat Cafe. So she's been a busy single mom out there. So she's doing really well. So
good on her, and that's fantastic. Yeah. Commerce, baby, commerce.
There you go. So she'll be selling Sola as a business, including all its menus, equipment, brand, and assumable lease. So there you are. So not bad. In other news, the Bozeman Clinic has fired their CEO. The largest clinic in the largest health association in the state, with plans to expand in Bozeman. They fired him this week. Randall Gibbs is shown the door. Due to the confidentiality of employment matters, further details are not provided as to why he was fired. But anyway, he joined the clinic in 2006 and is now no longer there. So, but they are planning an expansion here in Bozeman that has been in the works. A $40 million Bozeman expansion they announced last November. Billings, they're going to put up a 97,000 square foot building as a destination ambulatory center, and I think possibly it may be out there by Town Pump on Huffine. Not sure. There's an ambulatory center sign out there, so I don't know whether that's the one for Billings or if the local are putting one up themselves. So we'll keep you apprised on what's going on with that. So The Billings Clinic on Highland Boulevard opened in Bozeman more than a decade ago, and Acorn Pediatrics, which with the organization also. So, from our text line, hey, Tom, I listen to you and Shane all the time. The next time you have Mayor Krause on, would you ask him when Bozeman is going to enact a no panhandling act? There you go, another thing for Krause. And also from our text line, 478-8298, Trump, I don't do cover-ups, pays off porn star affair to win the election. All right. Well, that's why I voted for him. He paid off a porn star. So that's, I mean, that was the closing argument for me.
There you go.
You know? Yep, you pay off a porn star, you got to be a solid politician. So I'm going there.
Definitely an original.
That's right. All right. So what a guy. I still can't believe he's president, but every time I see him on the TV, I think I'm watching The Apprentice or something, but I don't know. But anyway, the alternative would be so much worse.
Oh.
From our text line, is Bozeman's indoor pool still in the red? That's another Krause question you need to put on your list, Shane.
Oh my God!
Is Bozeman's indoor pool still in the red? I don't know if it is or not. Well, the indoor pool, I guess, is at the high school, isn't it? I think, and I'm not sure we have another one in the area, but maybe we do. So I don't know. But the outdoor pool at what is it? The Bee Park. Can't think of the name of it. But anyway, what Bogart Park out there is. I don't know about it. They let it go way too long, and now it's going to cost about $72 billion to put in a new one. So, with all.
Well, look at the bright side. It'll have a water park. Too.
It'll have a water park. Yeah, that's true. We'll have slides and everything, everything we need. So, I have no idea if it's still in the red, but we'll ask Krause. I've got Shane on the job with the Krause list of things. We got to ask him, so we'll try and do that. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this portion of the whatever this is, the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. I should write all. I should write all this down and have it in front of me. Trying to do it from memory, I'm too old. Well, we come back, of course, we'll do the 5 things you need to know, and new Coke, and boy, maybe more on the Canadian elections. I don't know. We'll talk about a lot of stuff coming up. So there's all kinds of stuff going on in Washington and around the world. We got elections over in the UK, all kinds of things to talk about. So we'll be back with more of all that right after the news at the top of the hour. And Montana State News seems to be new, so stay tuned. Who knows? You might be informed. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's 4 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 44 degrees outside. Welcome back to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing. In Vancouver, British Columbia, Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And Shane, we got a caller patiently waiting on the line, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
And I'm glad to be here, Thomas.
I'm excited for you too, Peter. Boy.
Well, thank you very much.
You add so much joy to my Thursday.
Well, yes, and I'm here to do it again. Actually, there may be some joy in that.
Whoa, all right.
Oh, all right.
Give me the good stuff.
Well, the talking heads on TV, we couldn't figure out why Republican Justin Amash would side with the Dems on impeaching Mr. Trump. Well, it turns out he started a company in China, which he still has shares in, and they make cheap tools, which he sells in his company in America. So I would assume that that's why he wants to impeach Mr. Trump. He's got a China problem. And the other deal is, and I gave the mainstream media a couple of days to see this, but I ain't seen it anywhere. But Mr. Elijah Cummings, who was once heavily in debt and basically they're saying is due to his hefty child support payments to his first wife and 2 other women he had children with, and $30,000 in back taxes. But his current wife, one Maya Rockymore, runs 2 outfits. She runs a nonprofit called Center for Global Policy Solutions and a for-profit consulting firm called Global Policy Solutions, LLC. Well, this is good. Global Policy Solutions received $6.2 million in grants between 2013 and 2016, according to her tax records. Donors to the nonprofit included Google, J.P. Morgan, and Prudential, all of which have business interests before the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, which Cummings is the chairman. She also got money from the Robert Wood Foundation, $5.5 million to the consulting firm and $5.2 million to the nonprofit company. Mr. Cummings also sits on the committee for this foundation, where he is the ranking member, and it gets worse from there. The IRS complaint was from One National Legal and Policy Center, a watchdog group. And today in history, which you maybe have marked this down the road, major food brands are marching on the offices of the EPA to stop the pre-harvest spraying of food crops with Monsanto's toxic glyphosate herbicide. And for you, Shane, I have a stock tip. Stock the pantry and stock the freezer. Because they're talking about some serious food shortages going on.
That's right. Yeah.
Stock the freezers. I like that.
Mr. Cummings is quite a piece of work. I'll tell you what. I have a hard time listening to him, but
I know. You wonder how these people. You wonder how these people got elected. You know, I mean, how they keep going back and back and back. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and he's been in financial trouble for. According to there was a lot more to this article.
Isn't there some kind of ethics thing in Congress that you're supposed to be above board? You're supposed to kind of set an example or be a role model or something for.
No.
What are you, a role model for tax dodgers? And
if you're an ethical purpose, you don't get elected.
Apparently, I guess.
That's the ethics rule in Congress.
Yeah, if you're honest, get out.
Yeah, get out. We'll get you.
If you're not corruptible, don't play in our sandbox.
Yeah. Well, I think, Shane, that they make sure that they are corruptible before they're even allowed to get in a race. Mm-hmm. If the big boys don't have something on you, you ain't getting in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I think that's true. Yeah, we have that problem here. There's no question in our country. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, I feel bad for you guys. You ain't having a happy time out there either with everything that's going on.
Well, this is therapy for us. We get to talk about it, so
yeah, exactly.
It relieves all the blood pressure and everything.
Thank goodness for the morning soapbox, because I'd obsess all day long about Canadian politics.
That's right. Yeah, I know, it's horrible.
But yeah, if you look, like it, and I see, Elijah sitting there in his little seat, looking down his nose at the rest of the world. Yeah. And this guy ain't got no business doing that. He's received that went to a consulting firm. So it comes to about $12 million.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Really short.
Look, it's just like this creepy porn lawyer, as Tucker's named him. He did all this stuff and went global because he hated Trump, knowing he was doing all the things he's now been accused of. And so you read this list of this member of Congress, and you think, how is it possible that he sits in that committee and chairs it, and knowing everything him and his wife are doing? I mean, you got to admit that takes a lot of cojones, right? Like, seriously.
Yeah. Well, look at Maxine Waters and her husband. I mean, what bigger crooks could you find?
Well, you can find 2 more, and that would be Nancy Pelosi and her husband.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you get another one there. Yeah.
Well, the only thing Waters will her legacy will be her wig collection. I'm telling you right now. Okay,
Yeah.
you go into her. She's got a closet at home of wigs.
I bet she does. Yep.
Yep. Well, I don't know. These guys, I think that whoever coined the term kakistocracy, which I hadn't heard till a year or two ago, never heard of it.
Yeah.
Which me ruled by the worst.
Yeah.
You got it. And here we are, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was very entertaining.
Hey, what's that?
I said thank you. That was really entertaining. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, there we go.
And you better take the doc tip. That wasn't a joke, folks. I'm serious. Fill your pantry, fill your freezer, because the poo-poo is about to hit the proverbial air-moving device here.
All right. We're down with that, Pete. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
All right. See you later.
Yeah.
All right. From our text line, Trump's the only guy to get a full refund from a porn star.
That's right.
And
he still has to pay him $350,000 from that Texas order, right?
Yeah. And our text line 478-8298, a little Valentine from Vinny. 2 words: morning moron, which he's always called me since I took over and started using the term morning mayor. The alternative to Trump was Cruz, Kasich, Rubio, Paul, Farina, I guess. We got the biggest liar. People now prefer liars and ignore character. Mexico will pay for it. Why does Tom laugh at everything he says? I don't know. I got to quit doing that. I find myself doing that, and I gotta stop that. So thanks for pointing that out to me, because I have been doing it. So I got to stop. So.
The thing about Mexico paying for the wall, I don't ever think he meant it literally. Mm-hmm. I think it was figuratively. And with the new treaty, they're going to pay for the wall. They really will.
Well, I think so in the long run. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. 522-8255. Calling you on the air. What's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen. It's Steve.
Hey, Steve.
So Pete inspired me to give you a call, talking about the corruption of our politicians and all. Mm-hmm. And it made me think. I just started Mark Levin's new book on freedom of the press.
Non-freedom.
Let me tell you, this book is breaking down so well what is wrong with our corrupt media. It's pretty sad that I have to listen to talk radio in order to hear real news like the corruption of Elijah Cummings. Now,
wait! You're calling Tom and me sad?
Well, I really think that this is big news. I read about it a couple days ago as well, and I've been waiting as well to hear it on local media, nationwide. Not even Fox has mentioned it, right? This is big frickin' news. Huge. This guy heads up a massive, important committee, and we're not hearing a word about his corruption. And that really speaks to how corrupt the media is. You can deceive the populace by just omitting information. Like, how many people in reality actually know how corrupt Pelosi is, how corrupt Waters is, how corrupt these Democrat politicians are? But God forbid you get a Republican to do anything that doesn't quite fit the, this is proper behavior. And it's all over every network everywhere, including Fox. It's just a joke that this media is so deceptive to us. And Mark Levin's new book is simply incredible in the way that not only he lays out the facts of the case, but establishes that this is a real thing. This isn't just Fox News conservatives saying, oh, the media is biased. It's right there in statistics and studies. And I think that anybody who's listening to this, if you really want to get informed about how the media functions and how they present their bias, this is the book that's going to tell you, and it's going to make you mad. Yeah. However, it could possibly inspire Americans to finally be like, I'm sick of this stuff. It's time to stand up and hold them to account.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to put some props out there. I know Shane's an avid reader. I am as well. Reading books is how you get information. The media does not provide you information. They give you 2 little snippets of whatever, and on we go to the next feel-good or feel-bad story. Mm-hmm. Read a book, really inform yourself. You might get mad, but anger often motivates individuals to do something about it.
That's true. Absolutely right. Hey, good call. Thanks for the info.
Have a great morning, guys.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. 17 minutes after the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 45 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. Tom and Shane Matobin on the line. Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing. Tom and Shane on the morning Soapbox. And from our text line, Pete, you forgot the most important one. Stock up the ammo cache. And Tom, my mom always told me no one is completely worthless. You can always serve as a bad example. All right, thanks for that. Tom, I love that you laugh at yourself. Whoever's telling you to do otherwise is a miserable soul. Well, I don't know about that, but from our text line, 478-8298, intellectual dishonesty. He meant it figuratively, not literally. So now words and character no longer matter. And we heard about Cummings and his wife on Fox News 2 nights ago. So there you are. So maybe somebody's putting out that info. So we've got callers waiting. So let's go to the phone, Shane, and see what the callers have to say. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I think I'm going to die on this hill.
All right, go for it.
Okay, I liked Pete's call and a cacostocracy.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Right.
I liked it. But it sounds like Elijah Cummings is the kingfish baby daddy.
Kingfish.
But I think I figured out Trump's morning tweeting. Do you remember a mayor in New York named Fiorello LaGuardia?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Airport named after him.
Well, back in the day, and I never witnessed this or heard this, but I saw it on TV, so it must be right. He used to read the local media over the radio, and for the kids, he'd read the funny papers, and he'd mock the local media on the radio. And he became very famous for this, and he would read the New York Times and mock the stories. And I think Trump is imitating Fiorello LaGuardia. I think he's just only Fiorello LaGuardia used to do his sitting on a chair, and Trump does his sitting on the pot. So
maybe, I don't know.
Oh, it's entirely possible.
Well, none of the news medias have reported that, as far as I know, but it's certainly entirely possible, I guess.
Well, I think that Trump's tweets are in imitation of the good mayor. So,
okay.
Anyway,
thanks a lot. Right. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the other thing about LaGuardia, we should mention real quick is that, you know, he was famous for building infrastructure in New York City, particularly the bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he was such a renowned mayor of the city. And he also was, you know, big in the transition from, you know, horse and buggy and deliveries by cart to cars. So, I mean, you know, he created the infrastructure, the water system and natural gas and electricity and the bridges. So a big accomplishment. You know, that took New York City into the 20th century, and it was a cool time, very cool time.
All right. Also, okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to say 5 things you want to know.
We're going back to the 5 things we need to know. Yeah. Got way late a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, in a surprise Rose Garden conference on Wednesday, President Trump announced that he would no longer negotiate with Democrats on legislation until House panels end the myriad investigations into his administration and his finances, after reportedly cutting short a planned meeting with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi that was intended to hash out details on a previously agreed upon infrastructure deal. Trump expressed anger that some Democrats discussed the possibility of impeachment during a closed-door meeting on Wednesday. Trump said he won't work with Democrats on an infrastructure deal, spending bills, or any other legislation until they get these phony investigations over with. He said he respects Congress' oversight role, but claimed what they've done is abuse. And I think he's turning into a victim in the eyes of the American people, that they just are not going to stop coming after him.
Yeah, that's right. The Democrats have to decide about legislating in investment, or they're going to legislate impeachment. Mm-hmm. I want to see Schumer's 35-page suggested, use of $2 trillion for infrastructure. I think there should be a big storm. If you want to see a report, I want to see that 35-page document of Schumer's. See
where he's going with that. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, India Prime Minister Narendra, what is her name?
Say Modi. Say Modi.
Modi. Hindu Nationalist Party declared victory on Thursday as early results from India's six-week-long election. 6 week long. There you go.
That's right. Exactly. 90 million people to run the election, 800 million eligible voters, 600 million voted. That's a pretty good turnout.
That's
80%.
Pretty good, yeah.
Janta Party, did well again.
Yeah.
There's 542 seats in the lower house, as you were going to read, and he's heading more than 300, which is more than the 272 he last took. So he's done a lot of good stuff for India because he's Hindu, and the Congress Party, ran by the Gandhi family for 40 years.
Right, yeah.
They can do a lot for investment, but it's Modi that's opening up India to investment, banking, and in industry. And India has the largest educated public in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, if they could get their infrastructure situation under control, they would be amazing. They would eclipse China, I believe. But the roads and the communication and everything is just not up to par in India. But
and I think that's what scares the Chinese is that Trump is trying to redirect the trade routes as we're talking, and I think he wants to go to India and a place like Vietnam, Thailand, or Indonesia even.
Well, but I'm sure China is looking to do more business with India as well with these tariffs coming up. So
but they don't want to buy Chinese products any more than anyone else.
I don't know. They need spatulas too,
Oh, I guess so.
And they have a caste system there, so they've got a pretty good selection of people who are not doing well in India.
That's right, and it's interesting you bring that up because in their constitution in 1949 they abolished the caste system, and regrettably the largest democracy in the world still has a representative caste system, which is racism at its worst. It's worse than slavery because it's it's every part of the of the populace is put in a separate group, and for generation, I mean, there are women still, like 8-9 generations carrying bricks on their head on top of a piece of plywood. I mean, it's it's
scary stuff. Your last name determines where you are in the pecking order. So there's no way you can get out of it. There's no way you can raise yourself up under that system. And it's a shame because I think they should realize that the potential power they have if they would abolish that system and just let people rise to their own level, it would be amazing.
But you got to remember, there's 800 million pagans in India.
Well, that's true too. So, okay.
Paganism's still around 7,000 years later.
Yeah, but they don't step on ants and they don't kill cows. So
that's true.
There you are. Well, to boost security in the region, the Pentagon on Thursday will show the White House plans to send up more than 10,000 troops to the Middle East. U.S. officials told the Associated Press on Wednesday. The officials said this is not a response to any new threats from Iran, but President Trump has said he wants U.S. troops out of the Middle East, and it's not clear if the White House will approve sending any or all of the requested troops. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan told reporters on Wednesday the U.S. does not want to provoke Iran, and the biggest focus on this point is to prevent Iranian miscalculation. So earlier this month, the U.S. hastened the deployment of an aircraft carrier strike group and B-52 bombers to that region. So still a little tension going on over there, Shane.
Well, this one's easy. This is just public relations to put more pressure on Iran. It's, they're basically saying to them, don't raise your ugly head. They're not sending, they are not going to send 10,000 troops. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I don't think so. In today's warfare, you don't need to put boots on the ground. You go in, you knock out the communications, you knock out the gas, oil, whatever, and you're pretty well done. I mean,
that's
pretty
right.
easy. And you don't need
and a country like that depends entirely on infrastructure, because of its oil industry. So
sure. Take out major thoroughfares, take out communications, take out pipelines. Yep, you're done.
Yeah.
Yep, and nobody needs to carry a gun on Iranian soil. So it's a pretty good deal. Yeah. Well, Brexit is May gone. Do you think?
Oh yeah, she's gone.
Yeah, I think she's gone. Yeah, I think she's gone too.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens as a result of that and who they pick. But they will get Brexit done, and England will withdraw from
the EU.
That's going to happen. I don't not see it.
Well, I think they will. It's just I don't know why they're having such a hard time coming up with a way to do it. Get out. Just call it quits.
Starting today until Monday, the EU Parliament elections are on.
That's right. Yeah, so that may change. Yeah, it may change.
751 seats, 376 for a majority. Three major parties: the EPP Party, which is the European People's Party group. That's the Socialists, and then you have the S&D Party. This is the Liberal, the EPP is the Liberal, and then you have the Progressive Alliance of Socialists and Democrats.
15 seconds.
Okay, and then the European Conservative and Reformists, and they are expected to take control of that parliament. That would be interesting.
All right, back after this. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 46 degrees outside. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane and Talbot, half man, half amazing on the line, and Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor, in the house. And our poll question yesterday, pretty good one, Shane. It was, is road rage in Bozeman bad? A scale of 1 to 5. And the winner, well, let's see. We had raises my blood pressure was 33%. That was the top response. Normal crazy Bozeman drivers, 28%. And 17% thought tolerable. And 10% thought very good. And 9% makes me postal. So there you are from yesterday's poll. Today's poll, and there are multiple, you can put multiple answers to this. What's the best condiment for a hot dog? We've got ketchup, mustard, relish, onion, sauerkraut, and cheese. So you can pick them all if you want to. So, but most of us don't eat a hot dog plain. I like mayo in mine. I left mayo out, but so far mustard is number one, ketchup is second, relish is third, onions is fourth. No sauerkraut, no cheese yet, but we only have a few votes since it's early in the morning. So
mustard, relish, and onions for me, baby.
Yeah, I go to Costco, get that big Polish dog they have, and boy, you got to put everything on that thing. So
I have to comment about this because it's such a laugh. So they sell the giant hot dogs at Costco that you can buy for $1.50, right?
Right. Yeah.
You can buy them in a package, but they don't sell they don't sell.
Don't sell them in the store, do they?
No, but they don't sell the large hot dog buns.
Oh, they don't sell the buns to go with them.
Hot dogs, but no buns.
They got no buns to go with them. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
Well, I don't know. That's tough. From our text line, 478-8298, Trump's the best salesman ever. He convinced the Republicans to add $2 trillion in more infrastructure debt spending. Democrats support him. Where is the Tea Party? So I guess the Tea Party is happy with the $2 trillion. So yes. I don't know. So that may be. Also, we got to talk about our KMMS app, our AM 1450 KMMS app. Get it for your smartphone. Get it at Google Play or your Apple Store. And the great thing about it is now that you can listen to us and message us without missing the show. If you're on your smartphone, all you have to do, if you're listening to us right now on your smartphone, look up in the left-hand corner. You'll see 3 little bars up there. Click on those 3 bars, and then click on the logo right next to it, and that'll take you back to the screen where you can listen or message us directly and never miss a beat of what's going on with the Morning Soapbox. So it's a great way to send a message to us, and we'll respond in kind. And it may be quicker than going to the text line and punching in that number and doing all the other stuff. So it's an easy way to do it. So if you're on your smartphone, just go up to the top left-hand corner. You'll see 3 bars up there, and click on that. Click on the logo, and then right next to the listen button is a message button. And just type it in, and we'll respond. So let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Jerry.
Hey, Jerry. How you doing?
Fine, sir. Thank you very much. Tom, not being able to pay attention to the radio or news, can you tell me who won the special election in Pennsylvania just the other day?
Oh, yeah, the Republican did. I think it's Griffin, right? The Republicans took it. It was a safe northeast, western part or eastern part of Pennsylvania, but it was a safe seat. But and in a landslide too. Like it was a big turnout.
Was it a Senate seat or a congressional?
No, a congressional seat. The previous congressman had retired.
I'll be darned. And if I may, did you hear what that judge ruled in New York about the ruling he made in regard to Trump's tax returns?
Yeah, he was in favor of the request by the Democrats that he should release it if they issue a proper subpoena. But to issue a proper subpoena, one of the chairs of the committees that issue it would have to intern his committee as a grand jury to issue a subpoena of that nature.
That New York used to have a law that you could not force anyone to release their tax returns. But then I think the legislature just passed a bill recently that in this case, Trump's case, it can be done. And I thought, what is going on over there in that state, and why would they do it, make a specific exemption for the President of the United States, which tells me that the wall needs to be built not on the southern border, but along the border of the eastern bank of the Mississippi River.
There you are. I like that idea. Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. Good show. All
right. Hey, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Republican Frank Keller easily defeated Democrat Mark Friedberg by 68-32 in the 12th special congressional election. Margins don't mean too much when you're trying to put the race into a national context, but Republican President Donald Trump beat Hillary there 66-30 back in 2016, and that means Keller's margin was about the same as Trump's. The lack of a huge shift is very different than what happened or what tended to happen during the course of 2017 and 2018. So there we are. Question is whether Pennsylvania 12 result is a fluke. It could be, but about 30 special legislative elections since 2018 midterms suggest that something may very well have changed since last year. So we'll see how that plays out in the 2020 election.
Yes, exactly. And I just think this moves Pennsylvania still into Trump's column. And, I just don't see Biden getting there. We'll see, but it's funny,
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, keeping on with the 5 things that we need to know. We did talk about a little bit about the European Parliament is going to do their elections. They'll begin on Thursday, carrying through to Sunday. I like the idea of being able to vote for about 3 or 4 days, but where do you get the poll workers to do all that?
Well, it is. it is 28 countries. So
well, I guess that's true. But
yeah,
still, all 28 countries have to pony up some people to take the votes and check everybody in and stuff. So I don't know, man. So I don't know, but anyway, that may be the end of May. We think it will be. We think she will probably resign, and they will elect a new prime minister over there. So
yeah, after Brexit's done, yeah, exactly.
So let's see, from our text line 478-8298, the IRS is okay with the Clinton Foundation. Sometimes things can be legal and still scummy. Why do Trump supporters not want transparency in Republicans too? So, yeah, we all want transparency, I think, regardless who it is. If Trump's guilty of anything, get rid of him. If not, get off the
biggest giggle for me is Obama supports Hillary for president, and she gets $150 million for her foundation.
Yeah.
And then he says he won't support Biden. Well, of course not. Biden got $1.5 billion.
Yeah. So
and Obama's sitting there and going, "Hey, I won the Nobel Peace Prize. Why didn't anyone pay me?"
That's right. What's the deal there? So we got to take a break. We'll be right back. 12 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 46 degrees outside. We've got a caller on the line. So, caller, you are on the air. What's up?
This is Colonel Clink.
Hey.
I got to ask Tom, I got to ask you a question.
Go for it.
And I got to ask Shane a question. And I'm changing the subject a little bit here.
Okay, that's fine.
And I agree with what Jerry said. I need that wall on the Mississippi. I
yes,
agree
we
with
do.
him 100%.
Yes, we do.
But here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, we're going to have a sewer plant built out here next to me by the Four Corners, okay?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the question is this here. They let the bid the other day, the 10th, I believe it was, for the sewer plant to be built.
Okay.
Now, in my neighborhood here, we've got about 20 or 30 people here, maybe a little more, houses and stuff.
Right.
That's going to be looking at this damn thing. Now, the question is this here. Do you think a sewer plant that's built right alongside of you, within 150 feet of you, devalues your real estate?
Well, I would certainly think that it does. I would think an environmental impact on the neighborhood would be a study that should have been done before they finalized this site. Most of our sewer plants aren't near residential neighborhoods.
I know that.
So.
Well, down at River Rock, it's right in the middle of town too.
Well, yeah.
What do you think, Shane?
Of course.
Okay, now, having said that and having had your questions, the attorneys tell me it doesn't devalue my property. I haven't been hurt.
Well, I think you could demonstrate, I don't know, I would assume your property taxes will remain the same. So from that standpoint, they may have a case for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was wondering what me and some of the neighbors there were really disgusted with that they'd build it right in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they didn't take and go down below somewhere and buy some ranch and put it down there, you know. And when it's all gravity fed and they're pumping that water, that
right.
The sewer is 6 miles, they're pumping it uphill to their treating plant now, which is an oxidation plant. But I was just wondering out there what people thought about that. And the people here, we've talked to everybody here, and they seem to think that we're all being hurt. Some of these houses, my friend down here, a couple of them has built new homes. It's over $400,000, and I mean, God darn it, it's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think, as I said, it's easy to say you're not damaged until the person tries to sell the property next to it, and it was $300,000, and now it's $250,000.
Yeah, well, the real estate, the president of the Gallatin Valley Real Estate Association told me it would devalue the property and wrote a letter to the fact, know.
Well, I think it will. I don't think anybody wants to set up housekeeping right next to a sewer plant.
No, I don't think so. And what bothers me about it, I took all the money that I've made all over the years, which wasn't a lot, but and put it into rentals and stuff, you know, for the poor people. Yeah. I got a lot of poor people that rents in some of my houses, okay?
Sure, yeah.
And anyway, what's it going to do to them if it's? They say it isn't going to stink or anything. Well, EPA is supposed to be in charge of the stink also. You know, it says so right in their paper, in their law. But the thing is, why? You know, it's like the farmer out here. You notice on the Huffine Lane, the open space there.
Oh yeah.
And you know why that's open space? That one, most of it. A guy by the name of Al Lean said he'd never sell his ranch to a developer. Well, here's the problem. The developer comes in, he builds houses, he sells houses, or he rents apartments, and pretty soon the pig farm, if he's got a pig farm, or the cattle start pooping, and they got flatulence, and then the neighbors start bitching, and the next thing you know, the guy is in court.
That's true.
So he's forced then to sell the damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important because it's a huge infrastructure issue, and you know, potholes or publicly owned treatment works in your country. You know, there are over 16,000 of them. 75% of the population has, you know, these treatment plants.
Yeah.
And you know, 32 billion gallons of wastewater every day is cleaned by that infrastructure. It's a lot. It's a big operation.
Yeah.
Well, there's 167 cities in Montana that are dumping their sewers into our streams and rivers, and I give Tom a copy of it.
Yeah, I've got the copy of what you brought me.
And 2/3 of them are just ponds. They're not treating. They go from one pond to the other and then into the rivers or streams.
Yeah. I'm going to take a break, Clint. So.
Okay, well, I'll get off here, but you answered my question, and I thank you very much.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Maybe somebody else will say something.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right. We'll be right back. 3 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. And, oh, gosh, it's 46 degrees outside. Shane Taubin, half man, half amazing, is on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. From our text line, let's see what we've got here. We've got our poll question of the day. What should you put on a hot dog? Chili. Chili is one I should have put in there, but chili's excellent on a hot dog.
And cheese.
Yeah. Obama showed us his birth certificate, a White House visitor log. Trump is hiding his returns in White House visitor log. I haven't heard of Trump's hiding the visitor logs, and he did show us his birth certificate. So I'm not sure why we're bad about that. How do you like Nancy saying she would pray for Trump, one of the most morally depraved people on the planet? Really? And Clint, the housing around Riverside is some of the most expensive in the valley, right next to the Bozeman turd plant.
Oh, my God.
I know, yeah. So let's see. Everyone wants the benefits of a municipal system, but no one wants to look at it. Keep in mind, the further away a sewer plant is placed from the supply, the more it costs. So, okay, I guess we covers all of our text line messages for the moment. So, and we're going to have to duck out of here and pay some bills here in a couple of minutes. So, Shane, coming up, I want to talk about new Coke. They're bringing back new Coke, Shane.
I know.
Again, after the 1985, they tried to do that, and it went. It lasted 79 days.
Yeah, that's right. Coke. What a disaster! I remember that.
I know. It was.
I actually had a couple of friends that bought pallets of Coke.
Oh, really?
They put them in their garage before it happened because they were so afraid.
They were so afraid it was going to be the bad stuff, huh? So
it would be the bad stuff.
I know. Yeah, well, it's quite a story. We'll talk about it when we come back. Also, we want to talk about Avenatti, the porn lawyer, and some more stuff. So stay tuned for all of that coming up. And we will be back with that right after the news at the top of the hour. Hey, don't forget our Jennifer Bordy will join us too. We got that on the horizon as well. So yeah. Also, don't forget our AM 1450 KMMS app. You can listen to us anywhere you go, and you can message us directly from the app if you're listening to us right now. Look up on the left-hand corner of your phone. You'll see 3 bars up there. Click on that. Click on the logo next to it, and you will see down below right next to Listen to Us. You can message us directly. So check it out. Try it out, and we'll be right back with more after the news at the top of the hour. So stay tuned. A lot more to come right after this. Welcome back, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 47 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Taubman on the line in Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And we're all on the KMMS morning soapbox. And I got my days confused here. Jennifer will be in tomorrow. I'm thinking it's Friday. Maybe I'm hoping it's Friday. But it's God Squad Day, the fourth Thursday of the month. We got Rabbi Ed in the house. We got Dr. Rule in the house, and we got Father Leo in the house. So, gentlemen,
good morning,
welcome.
Tom. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, glad to have you guys here. And what's our topic du jour? Go for it.
Our topic du jour is Ramadan.
Okay.
The fasting month for the Muslims. The Muslims, we are required to fast 1 month a year from dawn to dusk. And this is, there are many connotations. I mean, there are many reasons behind this. One of the most important reasons is to teach us self-restraint. That even though we have the food and the drink available to us, we are not using it to obey the commandments of God. It also teaches us to feel the pain of the hunger, because even as we speak, millions of people go to bed every day, every night, without enough food. So this also gives us the opportunity to have the sympathy for those who do not have as much as we have, so we can be more charitable, more generous, more compassionate. And then also, if you think about in your physical sense, it is also a good thing to cleanse your own body, that you are fasting during the daytime for an entire month. And it really has many scientific advantages as well. So that's in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. So we do that once in every year. And this year is based on our Islamic calendar, which revolves around lunar cycle, not solar cycle. So it runs through all the seasons, because lunar cycle is approximately 11 days less than the solar cycle. So like this year is in May and June. Next year it will be 11 days earlier. So that's the way it works.
Okay, so it continually works its way around all of the months.
All of the months,
eventually.
But as of now, in Montana, we are beginning to moving backward to a shorter day, so that which is kind of nicer.
Yeah.
It was difficult when it was in the middle of July and August. It was a very long day.
Gives new meaning to midnight snack.
Huh? New meaning to midnight snack, yes. And the best part is when it will be in December.
So, right, yeah.
When the sun sets at 4:30.
I was going to say, yeah, you start cooking at 3.
Yeah, exactly. So that's in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, I know a lot of religions do fasting and sacrifice and all kinds of things. So, Rabbi, what about?
One of the things I love about meeting with my cousin Rahul here, and I say cousin, by the way, we call each other cousins because we both trace our lineage, our religious lineage, back to Abraham and his 2 sons, Isaac and Ishmael. And so the Jewish people come from the Isaac line, and the Islamic people, the Muslim people, trace their lineage back to the Ishmael line. So quite literally we're cousins.
Okay. There you go.
You know, maybe 2,000 cousins or something like that, but nevertheless cousins.
Where are you going to vacation together?
So this is kind of like a family reunion.
Oh, okay.
And when I listen to him describe Ramadan, of course, it immediately invokes for me the same ideas that we have in Judaism. Of course, we have different holidays on which different times of the year in which we do it, but what we're seeking to accomplish is virtually identical. And so I'm not going to repeat all the things he said. So our big fast day, when we do this work of self appraisal and assessing our lives and where do we want to go, is called Yom Kippur, which falls out in September or October. Yeah. We have the Jewish calendar is a hybrid between a solar and a lunar calendar. So we follow a lunar calendar like the Muslims do, except every few years we add a leap month.
Oh, okay.
And the purpose of that is so that the holidays fall out more or less consistently each year in the same season anyway. So Passover, which is really a spring holiday, can fall in as early as very late March to throughout the month of April and so on. And so, whereas the Christians have a strictly solar calendar, we're kind of halfway in between. You know, one of the additional purposes of, and that's not the only day of the year at which we do that. That's sort of the biggie. And one of the purposes is by being hungry. And it's not just hunger, but you don't wear jewelry. Women don't wear makeup. You don't wear leather because that's comfortable. The idea is to sort of break us down. Because when you're broken down some, you come to realize the ultimate truth. That is, we're only here for the weekend, as one of my teachers used to say. And the question for all of us is, if you're only here for the weekend, how are you going to use that time? And that's really the question we're trying to answer. How have we been using that time? Have we been doing a good job with it? Do we need to make changes? Do we need to use it in a different way? And by putting ourselves in this sort of weakened state, we're better equipped to deal with those kind of questions. In addition to the reasons that my cousin says here about thinking about people who don't have food and so on. So, you know, what I love is discovering what we share, which is so much more than what we disagree about.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
I just make a couple observations.
Sure, go ahead, Shane.
Ramadan is an Arabic word translated meaning scorching heat or dryness, and it's a first revelation. It's in the first revelation of the Quran of Muhammad, and part of the 5 pillars of Islam. And yes, there is feasting, but it's during daylight hours. There's night feast. People eat at night and they feast at night during this period. So they're not really just not eating. They're just not eating during the day because of the scorching heat and dryness. And it is not, there's no fatwa against people that are traveling, elderly, pregnant, breastfeeding, diabetic, chronically ill, or menstruating. So I'm not pointing out these exceptions as a negative. I'm just wanting to give context to, the following of it. Yeah. And, you're right about the Ismailis, and it is an existing sect of the Muhammad, religions of Sunni and Shiites, and very popular and successful sect. It's sort of the Hasidic Jews of the Muslim religion, or the wealthy side, and more conservative sects in the Muslim religion.
Let me follow up on that. I'm not sure what you meant by that. There is no fatwa against pregnant women or sick or traveling. There is a concession, like if you are sick, if you are traveling, if you are a pregnant mother, if you are a nursing mother, if you are physically unable for any reason whatsoever, you are exempt from fasting.
And by the way, that's the same on Yom Kippur. We have almost the identical rules.
Yeah,
I
think most religions would honor that, and I know Father Leo, the Catholic religion has Lent.
Right.
Shane gives up watermelon during Lent, of course.
Well, I've said that my Lenten
and vodka, Tom.
Right. Yeah.
My Lenten fasting has always been very, very good. I always give up broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and trips to the Bahamas.
Right.
For
Yeah.
Lent.
Yeah.
So right. It works every year.
What a
me.
sacrifice!
Well, somebody's got to do these things. No, but the same sense for us is that fasting in however you might use it. We have this 40-day fast before Easter to commemorate the 40 days that Christ spent in the desert before he began his ministry. For us, it's a 40 days of kind of purification and mental preparation as well as physical preparation for the major celebration of Easter. And part of it is just the psychological thing that if you pull back from something for a while, not permanently, but you pull back from it for a while and literally create that desire for it, when you come back to that, whether it's food or some kind of entertainment or whatever it might be, it has a greater sense to it. There's something that's wonderfully new about it because you've been without it for a while. So in one sense, it's about this discipline that we simply do for ourselves. Now, in our tradition, like I say, our big fasting is in Lent, but we also have fasting. We ask people to fast before they come to communion, to fast for an hour. Now, in my church, that's easy to do. You can have breakfast before you come to church. By the time I quit talking in the sermon, you've had an hour of fast anyway, so it's okay.
So it's all right. There you go.
So but it's that whole sense that sometimes is preparing ourselves by stopping something. Again, whether it's eating, which is sort of like such a central thing to actually consciously say, okay, I'm going to consciously not consume any food for an hour. Now, of course, there's always all those exceptions are in our tradition as well.
Okay. Well, we have to take a fast from this conversation because we got to take a break. So we'll be right back with more right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. We've got the God Squad in the house. We've got Rabbi Ed. We've got Dr. Rule, and we've got Father Leo, Shane Mattalman, half man, half amazing on the line with me also. And I wanted to go back to something that Rabbi Ed said about breaking down, because I think that does two things. One is it makes us appreciate more the things we have when that's over. And on the other side of the ledger, it also helps us appreciate knowing that there are people who are in bad, are in situations.
I'm really,
that
Tom, I'm really glad you pointed that out because to the outside observer who doesn't really know much about Ramadan or about Yom Kippur or for that matter about Lent, what they see is fasting.
Right.
That's the surface.
Right.
And because that's
there's a deeper meaning. Yeah.
There's a much in fact, it's not only a deeper meaning. There's the real meaning. The fasting is just the means to the end. But if you don't know and it's not your tradition, especially, that's what you see. That's the outward manifestation. You see, I know that Rahul, I can't invite him to dinner during that time because he's fasting. Yeah. But I don't know what's going on really deep in his spiritual life unless he wants to share that with me. And the same for all of us in the season of Lent. I was privileged last year during Lent to actually do a teaching at Father Leo's church on the Jewish roots of Lent, because the time of those 40 days of Lent, actually in the Jewish tradition, are the 40 days of preparation for Yom Kippur. It's called the month of Elul. It's kind of complicated, but if you study the texts, you see how that evolved into the Christian Lent. Which is just another connection of how all of this is is got great overlap. We've borrowed and swapped with one another, but we put it in our own cultural contexts so as to make it work the best in our particular communities. But at its core, we're doing the same work.
Right.
Yes. What my cousin Ed, Rabbi Ed said, yes, what you and others probably say, that I don't have lunch, I don't get to go to accept his dinner invitation. That's external, that I'm not eating during the day. But spiritually, there is a very, very deep impact in our lives. We feel more closer to God. We feel more humble to ourselves, that we are really the creation of God, and we really don't have much control of what's going on around us, because we are insignificant compared to the infinite power and the mercy and compassion of the God. And also, let me go back to what our friend Shane said, that yes, I never said that we fast 24 hours. Yes, we fast during the day and we eat during the night. Yes. So I'm not sure what is he was trying to clarify.
I think what he was pointing out was that the origination of this was because of the heat and the dryness, that it was more comfortable to do that.
No, that is not the. No, I disagree. I don't think that is the origination.
Maybe I'm wrong, Shane.
Yeah, that is not the origination.
That's not what I said. What I was just doing is defining it for context.
Yeah,
and
actually,
it's one of the 5 pillars of Islam.
Yes,
it's a requirement. It's a requirement of under the Quran of, strict, observance of the Quran and the religion. Yes. But it is not like an actual fasting, meaning for a month, because people do Psalm and the fast. And then, Ishtaf is the evening meal that they're allowed to have. And the Suhoor is a morning breakfast before the sun rises. So I just wanted to make the observation that, yes, they fast during the day, but people do eat and consume food during the 30 days.
Right. Yeah.
And, and some of the context for us too in the Christian tradition, at least in the Catholic tradition with Lent, and other traditions use Lent as well, Mm-hmm. But for us, particularly in more recent times, it was always about, you had to give up something.
Right.
And that meant you had to, basically
give up something you like.
Right. That's the point of my joke that, I always give up broccoli.
Right, yeah.
But the idea was you gave up, something you like. Like for kids, it was always you gave up some kind of candy. Yeah. And gosh, that was a horrible, terrible, hard thing to do, Yeah.
But here we have to give up hunting or fishing.
Right. Well, in recent times, we've tried to instruct people to look at this from another kind of perspective. Okay, what could you fast from? Maybe you could fast from foul language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Maybe you could fast from, really consciously, on purpose, try to set yourself in a place where you would fast from fast judgment on other people. Mm-hmm. Maybe, and this is a great one, certainly for me, fasting about making any comment about how people are driving, particularly when I'm behind the wheel of my car.
Our poll question yesterday was, is road rage in Bozeman bad? Scale of 1 to 5. So you tell me. The winner was raises my blood pressure 33%.
On the scale of 1 to 5, I would say 11.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The fourth place was makes me postal. So, I don't know.
Well, I'd like to also point out that Tisha B'Av is the annual fast day in Jerusalem. And it was established in the Torah by the Jewish religion to recognize the disasters of Jewish history, and the occurrence of the destruction of the Solomon's Temple and the Neo-Babylon Empire and the conquering of the Second Temple by the Roman Empire. So it has different aspects in history in all the religions, but it is a meaning of thinking about community and prayer and being able to fulfill and make a commitment to your religion. And I think that's an important thing to do. People need to make a commitment to it, and it's a reasonable thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's interesting too, because when you talk about the Catholic religion, Black Friday, black fasting was a a major issue in the Christian faith because it was so dramatic, and of course they had to change that requirement. And now you have, of course, the Ash Wednesday, which begins the fasting period for Christians. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation because all three religions come from the same prophets, and all three religions are based upon the same prophets, with the exception of Christ in the New Testament, and that's why he spent 40 days in the wilderness.
Well, and I think another part of what fasting is. In fasting, you find fasting in every one of the major religions in one fashion or another.
I was going to say,
sometimes they're not as organized as they are, in our.
Well, it's a sacrifice that you give, as a testament to your God,
right.
that you.
But it's also about how, and I think Dr. Raul talked a little bit about this. That it's how we get, in one sense, we get closer to our God, because when we fast and we, Rabbi Ed was talking about the destruction part. What we do is to knock down all of the stuff that we've built up ourselves, so that we can discover the real core issue is when you knock all of that down, when you get rid of all of it, whether it's for 10 minutes, for 10 days, for whatever.
Sure.
What's still standing, hopefully, a relationship with God.
And of course, for the Christians, the end of Lent is Easter, but the Easter season continues, and for 50 days until a holiday that's coming up pretty soon, which is the Pentecost. That also has its roots in Judaism, because we're in the 50-day period as well. For us, the 50-day period starts as Passover, which, of course, for Christians, the new supper was a Passover, Passover Seder, Jesus' Last Supper, excuse me, and so the 50 days ends with the holiday of Shavuot, which is coming in a couple of weeks. And what happens on Shavuot? The same thing that happens for Christians on Pentecost, and that is its revelation.
Okay, so we're going to have to hold that there.
Sure.
We'll continue that conversation when we come back, and we've got a couple text lines that we need to talk about, so we'll be back shortly. So Rabbi Ed is in the house, Dr. Rule is in the house, Father Leo's in the house, the God Squad is all here, so we'll be back with more with them right after the news at the bottom of the hour. So stay tuned, a lot more to come. 24 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. 51 degrees outside. Tommy Goff, your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Taubman on the line with me, half man, half amazing from Vancouver, British Columbia. And we've got the God Squad in the house. We've got Rabbi Ed's here, Dr. Rule's here, Father Leo's here, and we're talking about Ramadan and fasting and sacrifice and new beginnings and all of that. From our text line, Father Leo was talking about fasting from various things. From our text line, 478-8298, all religious leaders need to make a proclamation to their members to fast from tailgating. Yes. Yeah, yes. Let's stop tailgating on the...
And that might be a year-long fast at a time rather than just for 40 days.
That needs to be a permanent thing. Also, Christians still celebrate Easter over the lunar Passover instead of on April 5th on the solar cycle. And you said that's not exactly right.
So. I'm not exactly sure what the caller or the person is trying to get at there. For us in the Christian tradition, our whole liturgical calendar is based on setting the date for Easter.
Right.
And Easter, there's a formula for that we came to agree to in the Western Church. Now, the Eastern Church is a little bit different, but in the Western Church, we celebrate Easter on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. And that's the formula. So it means that Easter can be celebrated anywhere from late March to around the 21st or 22nd, something like that, of April. So it does move, but it doesn't move more than within about
a few weeks,
4 or 5 week period.
Amen to the tailgating, by the way, from our texter.
Okay.
That one. So. All right. I guess when we talk about these, the fasting and the sacrifice and all this is kind of the basics of all religions is that we, as Dr. Rule pointed out, we're pretty insignificant in the grand plan of everything.
Yes.
The other thing I think when we talk about making these sacrifices or fasting or whatever, as I mentioned before, they make us appreciate, I think, what we have, even if we don't have a lot.
Yes.
It makes us happy that we have what we have.
Yeah, because there is always someone who has much less than what we have.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
But Tom, there's another piece to this also.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the real work is evaluating ourselves and seeing where we need to change and so on, it's not really about staring at our belly button, which we might be giving that false impression, because ultimately the way we change ourselves in this process, we want to take out into the world to fulfill the chief commandments. As Jesus says in the Christian tradition, the two main commandments are love God with all your heart and your soul and your every bit of you, and to love your neighbor as yourself, and both of which come from the Hebrew Bible that Jesus was quoting, and I know the Quran has the same teachings. And so we have to be careful that we don't get too focused on this inwardness. Yes, we need the inwardness to change ourselves, but ultimately that's not the goal. The goal is to take it out in the world and make a difference in how we love our neighbor and how we treat one another, seeing the image of God in one another. And so it's always tricky getting caught up too much in the process and losing focus of the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's a really important point, because it's like in our tradition, it's like for Lent, for example, we have three things that we do: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving.
Yeah.
So it's like when you've been through part of that, it leads you out of yourself rather than just sitting comfortably into yourself.
It's the same thing for our tradition too. Almsgiving, we are required to give alms throughout the year, but even especially for the fasting, before the month is over, we have a special charity connotation which we need to offer before the end of the month.
Okay.
So
I know we have very little time, but it's like for us too, the almsgiving is not just financial. We use the terminology of now I can't remember it, but time, treasure, and talent that you can give of any of those things. And perhaps amongst other things in our in our particular world today, the most valuable thing most of us have is time.
Okay.
Well, if we then can donate some of that time to a cause or something like that, so it's time, talent, and treasure that helps us to then live out what we've learned from the fasting.
Yeah. Okay. We've got to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit or ask you all of your opinions on church attendance seems to be going down across our nation and maybe the world. But I want to get your thoughts on why people should embrace religion more than they are, and not so much at the mall and TV and all of the other things that they're engrossed in. So we'll talk about that when we come back right after this. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 51 degrees outside. And we are talking with the God Squad this morning. We got a phone call waiting, folks. So let's take a phone call and see what the listeners have to say. Caller, you're on the air with Rabbi Ed and Dr. Rule and Father Leo. What's up? Are you there? Okay. Well, maybe not. All right. From our text line, maybe giving up things that are harmful is better than giving up food like alcohol, smoking, and sugar. So we should do that. The first step in understanding Christianity today is to recognize that God is God and I am not. If that one point is missed, it is near impossible to understand the rest. And I think we agreed that translates to all of us. And when we come back, we wanted to talk a little bit about the reduction in religion religious practice by the rank and file person. It seems like religious affiliation and attendance and everything else is kind of going down in the country. And is that a good thing, a bad thing? I think
there's a huge number of factors involved in that. One of them, I think, is simply that the distractions that people have to consider, they just don't have time, and it becomes sort of a self-perpetuating thing. Well, I just don't have time. I have to go do this, or I have to go do that. And the problem is that they're losing track of, in that kind of instance, they start to lose track of their relationship with God, because there is an importance to that rhythm of a weekly gathering, not only to worship God, but to worship God in the context of the community. Yeah, we can all worship God in our prayer life,
right?
And that we can do individually, sure. But particularly for us in the Catholic tradition, we emphasize the communal nature of who we are, and that if we do not gather as the body of Christ weekly, we lose momentum, if you want, or we lose connection, and that lessens our relationships.
Yeah, one of the reasons I see that we are maybe losing our numbers in churches or temples or the mosques is because people are getting busier, which they should not be, because we like to have more and more what we already have, and getting more and more compared to what we already have takes time, and so the only place we can cut time is going to church, probably. And so that's one of the reasons I see that people are not going as much as they should be, but they should be going, because we need this regeneration in our heart to be connected with the God all the time, not for the materialistic thing as our main objective in life.
All right, let's take a quick phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, whoops, not there. Shane, you got a point?
No. I just want to let you know the caller's gone.
They're calling. They're not saying anything.
So if I could chime in on that one, I think that in addition, there's a couple of other really important reasons. One, as America becomes more multicultural, we find many places to have community apart from church. You could have community with your kids' baseball team and the other parents, and there's so many places for community. And whereas the Catholic Church, for example, was once overwhelmingly Irish Americans and Italian Americans, those kind of ethnicities are breaking down, and we don't have that. But the second reason is, I find, especially with millennials, is the media has identified Christianity in America with a particular brand of Christianity that perhaps Mike Pence is the head of. It's a Christianity that's very anti-GLBT, anti-abortion, anti-women, and with some racist overtones. People might disagree with that, but that's how a lot of young people see that kind of Christianity. And rather than say, well, I'm going to go to mainstream Christianity, Presbyterians and Methodists and Lutherans and so on, who don't hold those views, they just drop out of religion altogether, because that kind of Christianity is taking the mantle in America of what defining Christianity. Just like in the Muslim world, a particular form of Islam that's practiced in Saudi Arabia and in Pakistan, which is very different than here, has through the media gotten the image of that's Islam. But there's not one Judaism, there's not one Christianity, there's not one Islam, but people don't understand that.
Let's see if the caller is here now. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tom, this is Aaron. How you doing?
Good, Aaron. How are you?
Well, it seems like the last speaker was maybe a little opinionated and confused about why people are dropping out of church. I think the reason people are dropping out of church is because the churches are in a state of Laodicea, and there is no religion. The Bible is no longer the foundation anymore. Like your last speaker stated that, well, it just kind of ebbs and flows with what society wants, and God said that pumping your fishing buddy in the butt was not good. Now the society thinks it's okay. The church should, God thinks it's okay. That's not how it works. And people aren't going to go to that. People aren't going to go sit in a church and listen to a preacher tell them that everything that's wrong with the world is acceptable and cool. That's not what the church is there for. The church is there to anchor people into righteousness, not to ebb and flow and to condone their wickedness. And that's, I don't know, man. You guys are the apostate squad as far as I'm concerned. But I hope you guys have a good weekend anyway.
All right. Thanks for the call. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, 52 degrees outside, 3 minutes before the top of the hour. Shane Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver. What's going on, Shane?
Well, I think that it's interesting conversation, and I thank all the men coming to the house. I look at religion as expressing and determining moral responsibility for people globally. And evangelicals, one of their principal tenets is that if you don't pray and you don't go to church, God won't know you when you come to heaven. And as a belief in faith of Christianity, I believe that our Christ, the living God, taught us to love and to be forgiving. So with that, I'll say goodbye and talk to you tomorrow, Mayor. Thank you, gentlemen, and everybody be happy, be safe.
All right. Hey, thank you much. All right. Thanks, Shane. All right. We got about, what do we got here? We got about 2.5 minutes to finish up here, guys. We've got a caller on the line. Let's go there. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Kevin.
Kevin.
Hello. I just want to clarify something. I wasn't quite sure. Did I just hear Rabbi Ed compare Mike Pence with radical Islamists?
No.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I think he did, and I think this Trump and this Vice President Pence hatred has just gone too far. I would like to raise some money for Rabbi Ed to spend 1 week with Mike Pence and then spend 1 week with radical Islamists and see if he'll make that same statement.
I didn't say that. You may be misheard. I said he's a fundamentalist Christian. That's what he calls himself. That's what.
There's nothing wrong. I'm not even a fundamentalist Christian. I'm Catholic, but there's nothing wrong with fundamentalist Christians, sir.
I didn't say there was. The question was, why are people dropping out? Why are millennials dropping out of religion? And I'm saying, according to Pew Research survey and other data, many of them see Christianity as that Mike Pence brand of Christianity, and they don't like that, and then they drop out of religion altogether. That was what I was.
Mike Pence is a good man. I mean, Mike Pence won't even be in a.
Well, you might think that. You might think that, but 75% of millennials feel that GLBT should not be discriminated against, and he disagrees.
I don't think he thinks they should be discriminated against. I think he just thinks it's wrong, and that's his opinion. And I don't think, but he doesn't go around and cut people's heads off for it, or throw them off buildings, or put them in burqas. I mean, maybe he's just become too secular, sir. Thank you. Okay,
we got to go. All right, any final thoughts, guys? We got about 30 seconds here, so. Okay. Thanks for coming and spirited discussion. We're happy to have you both, or all three of you here, and we'll see you hopefully the end of next month. All right, we got to go. Thanks, Shane.
Next month I'm off.
Okay. All right.
I think next month.
All right. Thank you, guys, and we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.